All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
Hello, and welcome to this week's NASCAR Quick Hit here at SHIPIT Nation. I am Eric, also known as TheGame on Discord, and today we're going to be discussing the Grant Park 165 taking place through the streets of Chicago. As always, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button, and please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel already. If you haven't, it really does go an incredibly long way in helping us with the YouTube algorithm. Before we break down the Grant Park 165 taking place at the Chicago Street Course, let me mention drafters. Folks, best ball drafts are here now. The NFL season is quite literally right around the corner, and we want to make sure you're ready with drafters. That's right. Ship it with drafters. ShipItNation.com/drafters. Use code SHIPIT to get 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So once again, that is code SHIPIT on ShipItNation.com/drafters to get 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on drafters. Thank you, drafters. All right, this week the race will be on the NBC network in the US and TSN5 in Canada. Green flag is at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. There are only 75 laps this weekend, so our Dominator points are incredibly smaller than usual. This week, we only have 52.5 Dominator points up for grabs, and even though there are so few Dominator points, I still do recommend targeting them. And this weekend, I will be using between 1 and 2 Dominators in each lineup. And with how soft pricing is this weekend, that shouldn't at all be an issue. Let me grab a drink here because I feel like my voice is going to go and I have like a lot of talking yet to do. 1 second. And I need a new chair. My chair's too loud. All right. Let's see here. Where am I at? All right. The race. Let me go ahead and switch to my screen share here. Bam. All right. This weekend, Cup Series once again ran 2 separate practice sessions with Group A and Group B getting 20 minutes each. And surprise, surprise, Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen were the fastest in practice. And these two have been the fastest all weekend, as they were also the fastest in Xfinity. And Shane Van Gisbergen won the Xfinity race just a few minutes ago, and you saw an automated task just pop on my screen on YouTube. I do apologize on that. And I want to say Larson finished, I think, 3rd in the Xfinity race. These two have been the class of the field all weekend, no matter what car they've drove. They will be incredibly popular this weekend. They are some of the some of the most expensive drivers on DraftKings. However, this is all for good reason. These are 2 badass wheelmen. They can get the job done. SVG won the first race here at the Chicago Street Course last year in his debut race. Look, they're going to be popular. They're going to be chalky. But they're worth playing. I don't recommend fading either of those drivers. Also, as I mentioned, this is only the second time the Cup Series has been to the Chicago Street Course. Last year was the inaugural race at Chicago, and we couldn't have two different races. Last year, I want to say it was 220 miles, and then ended up getting shortened. Literally during the race, it was shortened because they ran out of daylight. Because of all the rain they had. There was so much rain in Chicago last year that the story of the race was rain tires and losing daylight and being shortened. And then all of a sudden, this Kiwi, Shane Van Gisbergen, dominated the race. And, here he is. So what am I saying here, really? Well, thankfully, this year, the weather seems to be cooperating. The weather today, Saturday, as I'm recording this, was gorgeous in Chicago. And I'm pretty sure they're calling for pretty much the same tomorrow. So we don't expect weather to be a factor in the race. However, we really don't know what to expect as far as the on-track activity and action goes. Because, like I said, last year, rain tires, slipping and sliding, brand new through the streets of Chicago, etc. This year, everybody has a year under their belt here at Chicago for the most part. A lot of drivers in the Cup Series race did double duty in the Xfinity race. As I mentioned, Larson, Van Gisbergen, Ty Gibbs was in the Xfinity race. Joey Logano was in the Xfinity race. Daniel Suarez was in the Xfinity race. A lot of drivers doing double duty. These drivers are a lot better at this road course and know what to expect this year as opposed to last year. However, it is still a road course, which brings so much volatility to racing. So what should we expect for tomorrow? Well, I'm going to assume that Kyle Larson and or any other Dominator will lead the majority, if not all, of stage one. However, as soon as pit stops start and different fuel strategies are deployed, at that point, it is anybody's guess at what could happen. And we all know, if we've been watching NASCAR this season, what kind of silliness we could encounter if we get a few NASCAR overtimes. So what am I saying? Well, it might not be a terrible weekend to play a little bit lighter than normal. I'm not. But it might not be a terrible weekend to play lighter than normal. And I recommend maybe including more drivers in your player pool than you normally do this weekend, and boosting up either the variance or the randomness or the number of unique drivers per lineup this week, because this could be a mess. It could also be a very boring race with SVG, Larson, lean the whole thing, etc. I just don't think it's going to be that way. So just be wary of what we could be in store for tomorrow as far as NASCAR craziness. All right. Let's see here. I think I've blabbered. I feel like I've blabbered enough. Lord, it's 6:05 and I'm already talking silly, and I've just had an energy drink. Let's see here. So scroll down my words, my writing here on my screen. All right. Finally, some drivers I would like to highlight. First up, I'm going to take the cheap way out and once again mention Kyle Larson and Shane Van Gisbergen. I wonder what two Dominators I'm going to be focusing on tomorrow. Both of these drivers have been, once again, fast all weekend. Larson was first in practice. Van Gisbergen was second in practice. Both of these drivers were incredibly fast in the Xfinity race. Larson finished third. SVG won the thing. Look, they're going to be chalky but they're good plays, right? Like if something happens to either one of these two tomorrow, that's just, shit happens. Pardon my French, right? They're great plays, excellent plays. I can't recommend fading them. I can understand going incredibly overweight on them or maybe going underweight, but to completely fade, I can't recommend that for either Larson or SVG. However, Ty Gibbs also is a pretty good little road course racer. He has yet to win this season. He is 8,400 on DraftKings. He was third in practice. He was a double duty driver. He raced in the Xfinity race and he finished second in the Xfinity race. So if you are maybe trying to get off of the Larson SVG chalk, maybe do Larson Gibbs or SVG Gibbs, something like that, or Larson McDowell, Larson Reddick, SVG McDowell, SVG Reddick, etc. So many people are going to be starting with Larson SVG tomorrow that I think if you just start one of them and pair with a different Dominator, probably get pretty different. Next up for my drivers, I would like to mention Chase Elliott. Most popular driver, starting 18th on Sunday, 9,600 on DraftKings, 12,000 on FanDuel. This is just a PD play for me. Chase gets a lot of credit for being a great road course racer. I'm speaking with my NASCAR fan heart here. I am not the biggest Chase Elliott fan in the world. However, he is having his best season in a next-gen car in a very long time. He did perform fairly well here last year in the ramp, in the wet, in the damp. He was 7th in practice, and then he went out and he put it. He qualified 18th. 9,600, like I said, on DraftKings. He's currently, at the time of this recording, plus 1,000 to win on Sunday. If he holds up his end of the bargain and can escape the craziness that could potentially be this race, there's no reason he can't give you a top 10, top 5, win the damn thing, right? So Chase Elliott, 9,600, starting 18th. Next up is normally my bargain bin, or at least he's been my bargain bin pick of the week for these past few weeks. However, pricing is so soft that he gets a promotion. I'm not sure what a promotion from the bargain bin is. I guess you're just like mid-shelf if you're not on the bargain bin. I don't know. But if you watch any of my videos, you probably know I'm speaking about Justin Haley. Justin Haley starting 23rd on Sunday, and you're probably asking, why in the world are you recommending a 6,700 Justin Haley who had who posted the 38th fastest time in practice out of 40 possible drivers? Well, last year in the inaugural race here at Chicago, he and SVG were dueling each other in the final laps. And it's not like Justin Haley lucked his way up there, right? Like, he was incredibly impressive last year in a much crappier vehicle, mind you, in fairly terrible conditions, right? If SVG wasn't as talented as he was, and now mind you, it was SVG's debut race, so no one really knew what to expect with him last year. Justin Haley could have very easily, and deservedly so, won that race last year. I was kind of surprised. I assumed DraftKings would price him up this week, and they did at 6,700. I'm kind of surprised he's not in the 7Ks because he finished second here last year. We only have one race to go off of. He's been incredibly impressive all season, and they still keep him at 6,700. So he's currently plus 7,000 to win on Sunday. 6,700. I will absolutely include him in my DraftKings lineups, and I will probably be fairly overexposed to him as well. I will be a big Justin Haley fan already, but I will continue to be on Sunday. And now, last but most certainly not least, bargain bin pick of the week, and I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't think I've picked him at all this season. And I'm kind of just hoping talent rubs off on him. And that is old Daniel Hemrick starting 35th, racing for Colleague, 5,100 on DraftKings, 2,000 on FanDuel. Look, practice, not impressive. It was his first time at Chicago Street Course. He was not in a cup car last year. So his first time at Chicago in a cup car, 34th practice speeds in the 1 lap, 37th in the 5 lap. Look, nothing at all to write home about as far as his practice speeds are concerned. What I like about him is he is a full-time cup driver. And as much as I clown Colleague Racing, they are a full-time cup team, right? Like Josh Bilicki for Power Source is $5K. Would you rather take Josh Bilicki or Daniel Hemrick for $100 more? I'm going to take Daniel Hemrick. Plus, Hemrick has some pretty road course savvy teammates. SVG runs for Colleague in Xfinity. He also sometimes runs, technically he's Colleague here, even though it's a Trackhouse car. SVG's running Trackhouse. I know it says Colleague, but trust me, that's a Trackhouse car. And Dinger is his teammate as well, right? I kind of just hope that their road course talents and the fact that it seems like Colleague really circles these road courses is enough for Daniel Hemrick to dodge the potential craziness that we might see and gain some spots. If he would get us like a top 25 tomorrow, I would be ecstatic. Ecstatic. Is that going to happen? Who the hell knows? But we can have our fingers crossed. All right. Is that it for me? I think so. That's all I have. I'm going to wrap up the quick hit here so I can go walk some dogs and start working on some projections for you fine folks. So yeah, that's everything. Like I said, this race, the Chicago Street Course, does have the potential to be crazy. This is only the second race here. Don't be afraid to play lighter than normal or to boost up your variance or your randomness on your optimizers, because Chicago Street Course, who knows what's going to happen. So once again, let me mention Drafters, shipit.com/drafters, ship it with Drafters. Use code SHIPIT to get 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on Drafters. Thank you once again, everybody, for hanging out with me. For the good folks in America, I hope you've had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. And let's finish it off strong with a fantastic race here in Chicago. Thanks for hanging out with me. And as always, let's ship it.